This product analysis for the Dominaria planeswalker decks is absolutely the most baffling analysis I've ever done. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, and welcome to my product analysis on the planeswalker decks for Dominaria. And guys, what is going on? These things are insane right now. They're popping off. People are going nuts about these. The value on them is through the roof. I genuinely don't understand 100% what's going on. So we're going to break it all down, lay out all the information, and figure out what the deal is here. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the Planeswalker decks are products that are designed for beginners. What they're supposed to be is a 60-card deck that features one alternate version of a Planeswalker, okay? It has completely different abilities as well. So up until now, each of the Planeswalker decks featured a Planeswalker who was in the main set. So for example, with the previous set, we had Angorath in the main set, and we had an Angorath in the Planeswalker deck. Now we see that with Teferi in this set, but Chandra is not in Dominaria, but Chandra is in one of these Planeswalker decks. So that's the first departure we have from regular Planeswalker decks. So these are designed for beginners. There's 60-card decks playable right out of the box that also come with 2 booster packs, all right? And the suggested retail price for these is $20 Canadian. I'm assuming it's probably about $15 US, okay? Now here's where it gets crazy. So we're working with the $15 US sales price. Both of the Planeswalkers from these decks have values that are equal to or exceed the cost of the deck all by themselves, which is just unheard of. So in terms of the contents of the deck, I'm not going to talk about all the cards in each of the decks because most of them are just reprints from Dominaria. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the specific cards that exist only inside these decks, the Planeswalker exclusive decks. We'll talk about the value of those cards and overall whether this is a product that you should be picking up. Hint, the answer is, oh hell yeah. Alright, so, my god. Normally, with these decks, you have the Planeswalkers in them worth maybe $5, $6, maybe $8 for the Planeswalker themselves, okay? So this is unheard of. We're going to start, let's take a look first at Teferi's deck. So the Planeswalker for Teferi's deck has a really nice ultimate ability. He can give you an extra turn, and you only have to activate the first ability twice to get there. I think that is one of the reasons people like him. First of all, the big flashy extra turn. Secondly, it's Teferi who ties right into this storyline, right? Dominaria. Teferi is a cool character. It's a planeswalker we haven't had shoved down our throat over and over and over like the Gatewatch, so he has that going for him as well. The Teferi from the deck all by himself is worth $16. The deck's only $15, and somehow the Teferi is worth $16. Now, bear in mind when I go through all these prices, there's absolutely no way for these prices to remain at what they are, because the product that's coming out, the Planeswalker deck, is not a very limited edition item. This is something that they're going to print a ton of. So anybody who wants to buy a deck is going to be able to get it. Don't rush out and pre-order these singles or anything like that. Don't be a fool. Just wait and pick up the deck to get it all in one package, because you get the whole deck plus 2 booster packs. And when you break down these numbers, that's amazing. Teferi is $16, okay? Now, every Planeswalker deck has 2 rares that are meant to search for the Planeswalker of the deck, 3 uncommons that are keyed to the Planeswalker, and by that I mean they care about having a Planeswalker with that name out, and there are 4 copies of a common that are unique to the deck and fit the theme, but are in no way specifically tied to the Planeswalker. So for this deck, the 4 commons that aren't tied to the Planeswalker specifically are Temporal Machinations, which are the bounce spell that lets you draw a card if you have an artifact. Now, obviously, the artwork features Teferi, but if you notice, the actual the rules text does not care about a Teferi or mention it. So that's not the same with the uncommons. The uncommons, there are 3 Teferi Sentinels. Now, these are 2/6 creatures that are 6/6 creatures if you happen to have a Teferi out. They're not very exciting. These don't seem like they're going to matter outside of this particular deck. Sometimes the cards they make feel like they'll have a reach outside of the deck. This is definitely not one of those. The rare is where things get interesting. There are 2 copies of Naimbi, I believe that's how you pronounce the name, Naimbi Faithful Healer. That's Teferi's daughter. And the artwork on it is amazing. The ability to go and tutor for Teferi either from your graveyard or your deck is really cool. And the flavor text talking about how my father will be really happy to see her, or whatever the specific flavor text is, it comes together incredibly. So I think that part of this is just hitting the right buttons for people like me who see that and want it. I actively want this because it has Teferi and his daughter. The flavor of that is amazing to me. So I personally believe that is what's pushing the price. The Nyimbis are going for $8 a piece by themselves, right? And there's 2 of them in the deck. So those 2 Nyimbis are another $16. Just between that and the Teferi, currently these cards are being valued at $32 US, guys. That's insane. You get a whole deck with all of these cards, and you get 2 booster packs for the price of $15 to $20 off the shelf. It's an amazing deal. For me, this is an absolute buy, especially considering, guys, the booster packs right now have a 46% chance of giving you a card worth $4 or above in it, which is break even or above. The odds on these packs of getting good stuff are so much higher than in previous sets. On top of the fact that you get a really solid Planeswalker, the flavorful children to go with them. So cool. So we've talked about the Teferi deck. I bet you want to know now, what's the other deck? Well, this is a weird one. We've got Chandra, the bold pyromancer. She made it in to the top price list, which is really weird because you don't normally see a card from the Planeswalker deck making it into the top price list, because the fact that they're in Planeswalker's decks should keep the price relatively flat. It doesn't make sense for them to spike up because anybody can get all the copies of the cards. They are not inside of random boosters. So in this deck, we have Chandra Bold Pyromancer, who all by herself is going for $15. I look at the card and I genuinely don't see what other people are seeing. She seems strong, yes, but she doesn't seem broken $15 strong. It seems almost like to me that she is actually a $7 level Planeswalker. The Teferi one, I actually get more of the hype about. The Chandra one leaves me a little confused. Yes, the first ability is powerful, don't get me wrong. And maybe this will play out and I will be wrong, but I feel like this is overvalued and it's not as strong as it seems. And the search card for it, though, is pretty potent. So we'll talk about the aligned cards with it. So this one, the commons that are part of the deck, specifically exclusive to it, are Pyromatic Pilgrim, which is a 1 red, 2 colorless, 3/1 haste creature with no other abilities. Not terribly exciting, but acceptable. The 3 copy uncommon that's keyed to Chandra's is Karplusan Hound, and it does 2 damage to any target when it attacks as long as you have a Chandra. Now I take issue with the flavor text on this card because the flavor text is half retarded. It's Joyra explaining the hounds set people on fire instead of biting to Chandra. But it being in Chandra's deck and triggering on her ability shows that she's already well aware of this, has trained these hounds, and knows how to use them properly. So it's pretty stupid to have that flavor text. It almost feels like it should be reversed. It feels like it should be Chandra saying it to Jaya Ballard. I mean, Dominaria is a huge world, right? Jaya Ballard could not have run into these hounds, and Chandra could have found them and be like, check out what I found. Here you go. All you have to do is reverse the names, and the flavor text actually fits, which makes it a fail in my eyes. But very, very minor issue. All right. And I mean, in terms of reaching outside of the deck, this is actually one of those uncommons that feels like, I mean, it's not massively power level in terms of, oh my god, backbreaking, but if you like Chandra and you play Chandra decks, you can put this into any deck with any copy of Chandra, because it doesn't care about Chandra Bold Pyromancer, it only cares about a Planeswalker named Chandra. So you can put it in any deck with a Chandra and have a creature that does 2 direct, shocks a creature directly whenever it attacks as long as you have a Chandra out. That could be enough for like people to want it just for that fun aspect. The rare from the deck, in terms of searching up the Chandra, is called Chandra's Outburst. Now this is a really solid tutor spell. They really stepped it up with the tutor spells in this set. The previous ones sometimes were pretty disappointing. The ones that searched for bolts and stuff didn't feel like they fit. But this one's great. It's a burn spell that also gets you Chandra back, and it's costed pretty aggressively. It's 5 mana to do 4 damage to a target plus get your Chandra. That's not too shabby at all. Those are going for $8 a piece as well. So actually, sorry, my apologies. They're going for $9 a piece. And there's a Gilded Lotus in the deck as well, which is another $5. So you get $18 on the 2 outbursts. You get $5 on the Gilded Lotus, bringing it up to $23. And if you slap the Chandra on there, currently the value on the deck's $38, and that's not even including booster packs. So again, guys, bear in mind, these values, they can't sustain themselves because these Planeswalker decks are basically a print-to-demand product. So, my recommendation is, on both of these, massive, massive thumbs up. These cards, you can pick them up at the time they come out. I could easily see them over time becoming worth more in value. This right here, the hype over these, shows that Wizards has done an excellent job. These are the best Planeswalker decks I've ever seen in my life. Genuinely. My recommendation is absolutely go out, pick these one up. If you're on the fence, grab a copy of each. Really, I mean, the two booster packs in there, if you take those off the price, let's say you're using US MSRP. Booster packs are like $4 a piece. 2 booster packs, you hack that off the $8 you hack that $8 off the cost of the deck, and the deck becomes like an $8 deck to buy. It's an incredible value. It's a fantastic deal for beginners. If you haven't played Magic in a while, you're thinking about getting back in, grab one of these decks. It's not going to be a bad deal for you. This is a fantastic product. I can't believe it, but it looks like Dominaria product review season is going to be one glowing endorsement after another, guys, because they are killing it. And it makes me so happy because things were getting so bad. And now we can see the light down there at the end of the tunnel, and it's time to charge towards it, my friends. So let me know what you think in the comments. Come on by for the next video. I'm having the time of my life, boyos. Peace out.
Together, we are the 6th color of magic.
Perf Media, we the best card boys!